We've got a ton of new releases in this week's episode of The Flash, and we're going to start off with Jackass 3.5. Yes, another Jackass pseudo-movie. This one runs about 84 minutes long and basically is another Jackass movie. It's all unused footage from the previous films that's put together to resemble all of the previous films. The good news is, if you're a Jackass fan, there's plenty more Jackass to be found here. The bad news is, of course, it's not quite as good as the stuff that appears in the films proper. So, Jackass fans, take note, this is probably a good one for you. Now, it does come on a Blu-ray in high definition. It's a pretty solid picture quality along the lines of all the previous Jackass films. Surround sound's about the same. Nothing too special, but solid enough for those of you who are into the high-def scene. And in terms of special features, there's a nice retrospective documentary that's about 45 minutes long called Jackass: The Beginning, a collection of deleted scenes, some outtakes, and footage from the Jackass European tour. Next up, we have the Boondock Saints, the 10th Anniversary Edition. The Boondock Saints, of course, is one of the great action movies of all time. One of my absolute favorite films. I'm always happy to see it get a little bit of attention. And this, of course, is basically just a repackaged version of the previously existing Blu-ray. It does include the theatrical version and the unrated director's cut of the film, and it includes an all-new special feature, which is the Boondock Saints, the Film and the Phenomenon. In terms of that, it's a solid enough documentary that kind of looks at the movie and sort of how it's become this cult classic. I don't know if it's worth spending the money on simply to get the film again. Again, it's already appeared in high definition on Blu-ray. Other extra features include an audio commentary by writer and director Troy Duffy, an audio commentary by actor Billy Connolly, outtakes, and deleted scenes. So if you don't already own Boondock Saints, worth picking up. If you do, probably not necessarily worth the double dip. Next up, we have Kingdom of War, a 2-disc DVD set featuring parts 1 and 2 of the movie. That's about 6 hours of movie right there. So, Kingdom of War is one of these giant foreign epics about the sort of Chinese dynasty, warriors, battle scenes, all of that stuff. Similar to John Woo's Red Cliff, and it's interesting. You know, it's 2 films basically, both of which are quite long, and they're a little bit too long. There are some amazing battle scenes, some great action sequences. The landscape, the production value, the details are all phenomenal, but be aware there are definitely some slow parts. That being said, the last 45 minutes basically of the second film is all-out action, so there's definitely some stuff to satisfy the action junkies. Just be aware, like I said, it gets a little bit slow at times. Special features include behind-the-scenes making of, a look at the royal lineage and the characters, 2 international trailers, and then a behind-the-scenes featurette and a music video. Next up, we have You Got Served, Beat the World. Now, as a movie critic, I am supposed to hate movies like this, but I have to say, actually, this movie took me by surprise. You know, my wife watches a lot of these dancing shows, and while I'm not a huge fan, I do certainly have an appreciation for a good dance routine on occasion. Not necessarily something that I'm going to want to watch all the time, but as I had to review this, I popped it in and was pleasantly surprised by the fact that it's pretty much just a dance movie. There's no story to be found here just about anywhere. There's a paper-thin plot, sort of a romantic, entanglement type of thing. But what's impressive about this film is the dance sequences in it are so cool that even if you're not a dance fan, you'll be impressed by what's going on here. I mean, right off the bat, there was a sequence where everyone looked like they were moving in slow motion, but weren't in slow motion, and it's fantastic. So if you like any kind of the dancing stuff, like So You Think You Can Dance or Dancing with the Stars, You Got Served, the earlier films, you should definitely check this one out. There's only one making of featurette plus a look at the crew behind the dance moves. So not too much in terms of extra features, but the picture quality is pretty solid, good vibrant colors and good image clarity, and the surround sound is quite good. It really does get the musical numbers kind of really pumping through the system. Next, we have Bloodrayne, The Third Reich. This is the 3rd film in the god-awful series based on the video game, directed by the world's most infamously bad director, Uwe Boll. It's likewise, like the earlier films, it's pretty terrible. Rain is this sort of half-vampire chick that goes around killing vampires. This time around, it takes place during World War II, and she fights a bunch of Nazis. And in typical Uwe Boll style, it's over-the-top, gratuitous, bloody, and just inane. Really, unless this is the kind of movie that you want to sort of do the MST3K treatment to. I'd say to stay away from it. It's a low-budget film, and it looks that way on Blu-ray. There's some pretty good image clarity. It's certainly a better picture quality than the DVD, but again, not really worth the upgrade unless you're a die-hard fan. Special features include a making-of, a writer-director commentary, and an interview with the writer. So there you go. Next up, we have Big Mommas, Like Father, Like Son. Now, when the trailer for Big Mommas came out, I actually firmly believe that the trailer alone for Big Mommas is actually the worst film ever made. It's that bad. The 2 minutes of that trailer is actually so bad it qualifies as the worst film ever made. So you can imagine what I felt about the movie. Trust me, this isn't one of those movies that gets better than the trailer. They actually show the best parts in the trailer, and that's not saying a whole lot when you feel like the trailer is one of the biggest crimes against humanity ever made. So really, you should avoid this one at all costs. I don't understand how Martin Lawrence still has a career, and movies like this do nothing to change that opinion. It looks pretty decent on Blu-ray. It's got that sort of candy-coated, day-glow look to it where all the colors are amped up so much that everything's bright and shiny in your face, but I guess that's okay for a comedy like this. And I use the word comedy really ironically there because there's absolutely nothing funny about this movie whatsoever. Special features are quite numerous. You do get the theatrical version and the extended version of the film. There's an audio commentary, deleted scenes, a couple of featurettes, a couple of music videos, and a gag reel. Next up, we have Insecure, and this is an odd film. There are some good performances in this movie, but it's sort of a weird film. It kind of starts off almost like a sort of like a romantic comedy before it turns into a drama, before it turns into a thriller. Unfortunately, it doesn't really work on any of those levels. It's certainly not as bad as Big Mama's House, but it's nothing really all that spectacular. It's kind of one of those films that it just seems like nobody quite knew what kind of film they were making. And had they known that, the cast is good enough that they probably could have salvaged it and made it something worth watching. The Blu-ray looks pretty solid. There's good colors, good image clarity, nothing too special, but nothing bad. And the surround sound is pretty much what you'd expect from a movie like this. It's mostly dialogue. There's some score music to fill in the surrounds, and that's about it. There's one special feature. It is a making of look at the movie. Next up, we have Pros and Ex-Cons with Sam Worthington, star of Avatar and Clash of the Titans, having his name plastered all over the front of the cover and his likeness plastered all over the cover. Unfortunately, this is not Sam Worthington's movie. He is a supporting character in this film. And basically, it's your typical kind of Tarantino-light crime, hitman, caper type film. I've seen worse. I've definitely seen much better. It's kind of one of those things you can throw on and maybe do some work or fold some laundry. You don't have to pay a whole lot of attention to it, but it's really nothing all that special, unfortunately. Also, there are no extra features except for a trailer gallery, so not necessarily one that I would recommend running out to pick up. Next up from Shout Factory, we have two collections. We have Women in Cages and the Wild Wild West collection. Now, the Women in Cages is a triple feature, which includes the Big Bird Cage, Big Dollhouse, and Women in Cages. It's a two-disc special edition, and it includes, well, movies about women in prison. I mean, I don't really know how much you can go wrong with that. You either know you like these movies or you know you don't. They are exploitation films. They're pretty much the best example of that kind of exploitation film. One of them has Pam Grier in it. That's a plus for some people. And, you know, it's pretty much, it is what it is. So, and the plus side, Shout Factory doesn't skimp on these, and you do get a nice number of special features. On Big Dollhouse, there's an audio commentary, a whole new documentary with a whole bunch of interviews with the cast, a trailer, TV spot, and a radio spot. Women in Cages just has a trailer and a TV spot, but the Big Bird Cage also has an audio commentary and a trailer and a TV spot. So that's a nice collection. The Wild Wild West collection includes Rio Conchos and Take a Hard Ride. Now, these are both kind of B-level westerns, one starring Richard Boone and Stuart Whitman, the other starring Jim Brown, Lee Van Cleef, Fred Williamson, and Jim Kelly. Neither film is great. Neither film is terrible. They're pretty standard B-movie westerns. If you like the cast, you like the price point, which this movie has a nice one, then you can certainly pick it up. There aren't any special features on this one except for on Take a Hard Ride. There are new interviews with the stars Fred Williamson and Jim Kelly, so that's kind of a plus. So sort of exploitation-ish movies, but set in a western setting. Finally, we have Tetsuo the Bullet Man, a film by Shinya Tsukamoto. And this is actually the third film in the Tetsuo series, but it's really kind of more of a remake of the first film with like a bigger budget and sort of an American cast. And it's kind of this movie about this guy, and he has like metal, and when he gets mad, the metal sort of takes over like a metal Hulk, and it's very bloody and very violent, and it's kind of disgusting, and it really will appeal solely to people, I think, who like that sort of extreme Japanese film genre. If you like that, it's worth checking out. It wasn't really to my tastes per se. Unfortunately, the DVD doesn't